TxStampin, Sharon. Today we're going to be making shaker cards. Someone asked me, do I do shaker cards? Oh yes, I do shaker cards. However, I realized it's been a while. So I have 3 to share with you today, and I'm actually changing the one that we're making on the video up a little bit. You'll understand why when we get started. If you currently do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be honored to assist you. You can find my contact information as well as my store in the description box below. Just click the Read More button. If you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you. I invite you to hit the subscribe button below and then hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time I upload a video or I do a YouTube live or a premiere. If you enjoy shaker cards, they're super fun. I'm going to show you all different sizes, so let's get started. So I have all my supplies ready to make a shaker card similar to this one. Look how cute. I am using the Painted Poppies stamp set and the gorgeous poppy paper that goes with it. It is so pretty, and as you will see by all my cards, that paper can totally change the look, even if you don't change the size of your shaker area. So this one I decided to do because what if you want to make a lot of shaker cards, okay? So I made it smaller, and I have a great tip to share with you about making sure you have enough of the little sequins to make enough cards, okay? So again, I'm using Painted Poppies. I'm going to be doing some embossing. So I have my white embossing powder. I have my Versamark pad, and I have my embossing buddy. I have my sequins. I'm using a stamp set called Daisy Delight. It's been around for a while. It's in the annual catalog, but I love the big bold thank you, okay? You will need stitched rectangle dies, or you could use your paper trimmer. In the past, when we made them, we used our paper trimmer. So a little bit trickier, takes a little bit of time, but you can do it. You can figure it out. But I'm going to be using these 2 sizes on today's card. You will need some foam adhesive strips. These are great, and even though the package looks small, they go a long way, I promise. I've got my stamp sets ready. I've got my paper all ready. I've got my card base that is 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. It is Whisper White thick. I love the weight of this paper for my bases. I'm going to change it up, like I said, and I'm going to use this pattern of the Designer Series paper. I've got a scrap of Poppy Parade that I'll be using to cut out with the rectangle dies. And I have a scrap of Whisper White that I'm also going to cut out with the dies, and I will explain more to you about that in a few moments. I have a window sheet. I know it's probably hard to see, but I have a window sheet. These are on my website if you need window sheets. I have this is my sentiment layer, and it measures 1 1/4 by 3 1/4. My Poppy Parade is 1 inch by 3 inches, and I can honestly say that this is the first time I have ever used Whisper White as my mat. I was shocked. I know I have never done it because I was like, oh, that's a different look. So I know I've never done it. So let's get started. So I wanted to share with you, I put my dies kind of like this, kind of centered. And then when you pull it all apart, you have a piece that you can save for later. I really tried to make that be my sentiment layer, but it wouldn't work. It was too skinny. It was too short. Okay, so I did do a fairly skinny frame. You can do as large as you want. It just depends on which dies you nest together. I also cut out my Whisper White with my largest die. Did I have to do that? No, but I was already at the die machine. I did not have to measure because it's not quite, well, let's see, what was it? It's like it's not quite 1 7/8, just too hard to measure. I did the same thing with my window sheets, and I cut out 2, okay? I failed to mention that you will need black memento and a Stampin' Blend to color your poppy. So we're going to go ahead and stamp our poppy. Poppy is what my grandkids call my husband. Just thought y'all might want to know that little trivia. Now, I like to let that dry first before we color it. But I told you I have a great tip to share with you, and this seems like the perfect time. So let's say you want to make 10 of these cards. This is the easiest way, I promise. If you will just take your Stampin' Scrub, you can put little piles and keep them contained and do your 10 so that you have enough, but they stay nice and neat. Make your little piles. Isn't that so fun? You just do, I'm not going to count out 10, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So you can just kind of sort them out. Then when you're ready, you would pick up this group, put them in your shaker card. Got it? Okay, so I think this is dry. I'm going to go ahead and color. I'm going to grab my old olive light and color the leaf. You don't have to use Stampin' Blends. You could use Stampin' Right markers. Use anything you want. I find that just by doing little light strokes, I have a little bit more control. And I'm going to make my black center a little bit darker with a black Stampin' Blend. So the next thing we want to do is we want to stamp our sentiment. And since this is a photopolymer stamp, I am going to use my paper piercer. Ink this up. Hopefully, if I'm not straight, you'll forgive me. I don't want to get my head in the camera. Ah, I did pretty good. Now we're going to pour our white embossed powder over. Making sure we got it all off. You want to hold this down with something because we're going to be heat setting it and you do not want your fingers near it. It would hurt. By the way, this little bone folder I had embossed with Stamping Friends Forever. That is my team name. And when you join my team, I send you one of these as well as some other goodies. Something else I do when you place orders from me is I send you thank you cards. So you might just get this thank you card. I'm just saying. All right, so we have all of our pieces. I'm going to go ahead and adhere, whoops, our DSP. I will be sad when this is gone. It's so pretty. I love the colors. I'm a bright, bold girl, and I love those colors. To make our shaker portion, I'm going to turn the cutout frame over, and I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue. Just a skinny little line. I'm going to place one of the window sheets on top of that. Next, I'm going to take one of the foam adhesive strips. And notice how I didn't use all of that one. I just stick it right back on. And I come right along the edge. You want to make sure that you have it completely sealed so that your little sequins don't fly out. So close. So close. Oh, I think I may have made it. Let's see here. I think I did. So like I said earlier, my other shaker cards do, they're bigger. So this one is if you wanted to make a smaller one, but I do have some other ideas to share with you. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off first, because if I was to do that after I put the sequins in, they'd be popping out everywhere. All right, so I just grabbed one of my little piles off of my Stampin' Scrub. And now I'm gonna take the other window sheet and I'm gonna line this up. So fun. So fun. And the window sheets do cause static, but I am totally fine with a few sequins sticking up on top, okay? It doesn't bother me at all. My grandkids love shaker cards, so I don't know. I may make another one like this and send it to them, but it won't say thank you. All right, so now we need to adhere everything down. And I'm gonna add my stamped layer first. Kind of coming up to the top more. And then we're going to use liquid glue again. If my frame was bigger, I could have used tear and tape, I could have used snail, but this is pretty skinny, so. But you need that other window sheet because as you could see, if I was to do this, all my sequins would pop out. So using the liquid glue allows me to check to see if I'm all lined up, and I have a little bit of wiggle room if I need to. Okay. Now we're going to take this, our sentiment layer, add it to our Whisper White mat that I have never done before. It's just too funny when I realized that. I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever done this. Now, this is just a matter of preference. Let me get my other card out. I do have this up on dimensionals, okay? The regular dimensionals, like this, are thinner than the foam strips. You could put them on with dimensionals, but I wanted to use foam strips, okay? So I'm just gonna put a piece right there, grab it, and then just kind of cut some pieces, just so that everything is the same height. Like I said, it's just a matter of preference. You can do whatever you want when you make your card. Your card is your card. I'm just telling you how I made mine. And there we have our thank you. So now let's talk about the other ones. This one, I wanted to show off that beautiful poppy paper, and I didn't want to cut it up much. So as you can see, I left a very skinny border frame, just like I did on this card. And I didn't want to put any sentiment on the outside, so I did it on the inside. And then I stamped a flower on the inside. If you stamp on the inside, do not color with that Stampin' Blend, or you will see it on the back. I think this one was my favorite, and I almost did the video on this one. I did use the stitched rectangle dies. I made a wider frame, but as you can see, and it may be hard because it's black on black, my frame is smaller than my card base. So if I'd used Whisper White as my card base, then you would have been able to see, but I think it blended very nicely. And I just stamped the poppies. I started on the left, stamped them twice across my layer, added everything else, and I have a fun thank you card. Again, I have a layer on the inside for the stamping and sentiment. Okay, what do you think about shaker cards? Are you ready to make some? I hope so. Happy stamping, y'all.